Hey everyone, welcome back to She Birth Podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Wright, and today's guest is Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Brooke. How's it going?
Great. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
So, can you tell our listeners what inspired you to write Finding My Lost Life?
Um, what inspired me was, during the difficult times when I was downtown, some truly horrifically shocking things. I always thought, like, if I ever get out of this thing alive, like, I'm gonna write about it. I always also thought, like, it was untapped territory. Like, there's no mentor or like guidepost or rule book or help to, like, for somebody that's been through it, because like I did the best with what I could, and I would just want to try to, like, even like some of the basic dark side things like manipulation, gaslighting, toxic relationships, getting involved with the wrong people, just like people that have I'm from a small town and I had dreams to move to the big city. I moved for a relationship and love, and just like a cautionary tale, like, to people that are planning on moving to Vancouver, and like, maybe just to be careful about the party scene, and just like how quickly it can happen, and of course spreading the message of recovery. It inspired me for sure.
Oh, wow. So, how old was you when you was like whenever you moved there? How old were you?
I was 20. It was 2017, so I was like 25.
Oh, oh wow. So,
Yeah.
how do you feel like revisiting such painful memories while writing your book?
It was really hard. I thought there was, I mean, like, I started writing while I was in jail on pen to paper. I was also doing AA and step work, Bible studies, and my sister, older sister Jamie, she's a spiritual healer, and she said, you should just like write about your journey chronologically and see what comes out. And I thought it was going to be really destructive. I mean, for so long, like, I suppressed and suppressed and didn't want to look at the horrors and the traumas that took place. So I was fearful of locking eyes with my past and facing it head on. And having to and not like, especially, when you're writing something, you're not only revisiting it, but you have to, as a writer, you need to describe the scene. So what you hear, what you see, what you feel, what you smell. So it was a really big, in-depth revisit of what happened. I had two editors that did my editing. The first one was really great, and then the second one said, like, I needed to go more in depth and, like, describe it. So it ended up being very constructive in the end. Like, I really commend. I think a big part of my recovery and sobriety now is the fact that I wrote a book. I mean, there's a lot of, even in the 12-step program, like, admitting your faults and your defects, doing your personal inventories, and then admitting to another human being the exact nature of your wrongs. Like, I shared that with the world. So it was a really good healing for me.
Oh wow. I'm glad. I'm glad you like came out of it like alive and safe.
Yeah, I overdosed 7 times. I was held at gunpoint. I was kidnapped. I got into the sex trade, which led to being sexually assaulted. I was around people that were like top 10 Canada's most wanted for fraud and stealing identities, and knew the VPD, and the VPD knew them really well. And I was caught in a web, and I had no idea what was going on. And I really accepted the fact that I was going to die a junkie. Like, I was so stuck and forever trying to find my way back. And I thought I could do it alone, or I thought I could do it myself. I always had that, like, I got myself into this, so I'll get myself out mentality. But yeah, I am. I think I'm meant to be here for a reason. I think God has kept me here because now I'm doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I have so many questions, but I'm just going to read your book because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the questions that I have are in your book.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I wanted to really highlight the moment, like I said, those events. So there was like 5 or 6 main events that I wanted to describe, because I was shocked. Like, I thought, no offense to the States, but like, you think this doesn't happen in Canada, let alone right here in Vancouver, like our backyard. Like, I just wanted to spread awareness and also just like the misconception of what society has, like, oh well, homeless people, it's a choice. And or homeless people, you know, like a lot of them, there's a big stigma with addiction and homelessness, like,
Okay.
oh whatever, just kill them, or who cares. Like I've heard many different things from different people, which is awful. And I want to be like that tangible proof, like, well actually, if they get recovered and clean, like look what they can be. So
Mm-hmm.
they're not a lost cause. They're not a waste of space. Like they're a life and they have value. And I want to, you know, it's more than just a choice. Like the way our system is with accessibility to detox and recovery, it's just not as fluent as what society thinks.
Yeah, true. 1,000% true. So, what was your most difficult chapter for you to write? Without giving away, what was the most difficult chapter for you to write?
Funny thing about the chapters, so my first round of editing, I did put chapters in, and so I changed identities for legal reasons, and places, like, you know, if in my real life somebody was, say, from Quebec, I changed it to like Alberta, because I needed to keep the identities for legal reasons. And but then there was three main people that I dated that were different eras, and I realized when I did have the chapters in the book that my book kind of was more about like my relationships and stuff, and I didn't like that. I didn't want it to be broken down, and I wanted it to correlate with the reality of what my life was like back then, which was I had no structure. It was a blur. And so I actually decided to just paragraph things, different thoughts and breaks, and I took out the chapters. And so now it's just like exactly how it was when I was in addiction, and that's why I did that. I wanted it to translate like that's, I didn't get a breath in. Like it was constant, thing after thing after thing.
Yeah. Wow. So, how
Yeah.
much of your story did you like consider leaving out, or did you just put everything in there?
I put everything in. Like I had, like, as far as just even the authenticity of writing a true story memoir, it needed to be accurate. It's
Hmm.
also, I've also been given, like, I've been offered a couple traditional book deals, and the contracts that were sent to me I didn't like, because you know the legal part would say, you know, you'll get final say, we won't change too much, and then at the bottom it said sign your rights away. So really, like, I didn't like that, because, and I went back and forth with a couple of the traditional publishers, because I said, if you change the narrative or
Hmm.
change like how it went, then, or the sequence of events, or for whatever reason or purpose, like then it's not a real, it's not a reflection of what my life was like.
Oh, wow. I did not know it was like that in the writing world.
Yeah, the like to like for a self-published author, I mean, on a lot of people, I was offered, you know, say $10,000 on, you know, we'll give you a book deal, and then you get a royalty rate after, because you'll never make it self-publishing. Your book will never take off. It'll never be bestseller.
Mhm.
And I'm glad I didn't, because I've already made over 10,000, and my book has reached number one best-selling status on Amazon several times already.
Mhm.
So I'm glad, and I do my own content creation promotion. I've been looking for literary agents. I've done a book launch at Chapters Indigo in Langley, and OTV came and recorded it. Like, I'm open to traditional publishing deals, like to get it a larger reach,
Mhm.
but I just haven't found one or been approached yet, by somebody that, like, my big goal is to make it a TV series, like a docu series.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like there's just such, our mental health crisis right now, our opiate crisis right now, like
Mhm.
it's so prominent, and I think like there's so many messages and truth in my book. I'd like to reach a larger audience and help families around the world.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So what do you hope readers take away from your journey?
The main thing is, I hope they take away, like, I want to create the platform that, be empowered by your story, use your voice, you don't be embarrassed or shamed, especially like there's such a judgment around addiction or and mental health, and to say it's okay, like, and to acknowledge that you're in the situation, and to have, you know, my mom, and we were uneducated. I mean, I don't come from, there's no addiction in my family. So my mom didn't know how to handle it, and she thought it was her fault, or maybe if we had more money, or maybe I should go and just rip them out of Vancouver. Like all these mixed ideologies, because we just weren't educated in it. And now that's a major thing I want for the readers to take away. Just like that is tangible. Like, I was homeless. I was doing fentanyl and crystal meth every day. I
Mhm.
have tons of trauma that I've had to overcome, and I too was in a state of hopelessness, helplessness,
Mhm.
and to be honest, like I was so scared to get sober because I didn't want to face everything because I've been trauma bonding with fentanyl
Mhm.
for so long. And I just want them to take away, like, it depends who's reading it. If it's the family of a loved one in addiction, I want them to get educated to know that, it has nothing to do with you. There's nothing you can do until the addict or alcoholic is ready to get help and change and break away from the chains. There's nothing you can do. And for the addict that's currently in active addiction, I just want to, like,
Mhm.
I have before and after photos of me during my addiction when I was like 85 pounds, skin and bone, living on the streets. Like, I want to show them, like, here I am now, there
Mhm.
I was then, and you can get here too. And let me show you how.
Yeah, that's an
Or
amazing
let me
story.
tell you how, I should say, or like kind of such say, like guide you or just show you that it's because a lot of there's not many success stories in recovery or sobriety where there's just so little hope.
Mhm. Yeah. So, and I've never been an addict, so I don't understand how you all feel. So, is it really hard to stop being an addict? Like, is it really hard?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what drug you're doing, and it depends the consistency that you're doing it. I mean, for someone like me who was right in the thick of it, conditioned to homelessness, survival mode, depending and spending every cent on drugs. I mean, like I was so conditioned into that lifestyle, like it is breaking a huge cycle. And honestly, if it wasn't for jail the final time, I don't think I'd be here, to be honest. Like that forced sobriety and then also finally making the decision to join and ask for help and having that psychic moral change that we have in the 12 step program in AA about finding, your higher power and God and understanding that no human entity can restore us to sanity. Like finally having faith in that and being universal, it wouldn't have happened. It's extremely hard. Yeah. I mean, you're escaping. It's not even like a lot of the times, it's just the education around it. Like, I thought I had a drug problem. And then when I finally realized I had a Jeremy problem, like, I
Mhm.
was broken, I was shattered, I was afraid. Like, I have this metaphor in my book that I always pictured myself in my addiction while I was in addiction was like that version of me on a bench in a park in the abyss with monsters all around. He's traumatized out. His hands are on his face. He's crying. He's scared. He doesn't want to look up. Like he doesn't trust anything or anybody. And he's just it's so intimate and he's just so damaged. And now here's my sober self, my older self, like extending my hand, saying, like, it's okay, we got this, like, trust me, we can get you through this. Like, that's how I've always visualized it. It's extremely hard to get out of addiction, not even just like obviously even the biological part of it, like fentanyl, like the what keeps me sober now is the thought of, I mean, one of the major reasons, the thought of relapse,
Mhm.
withdrawal. I mean, withdrawal goes for weeks, and I explain it in my book, the surmountable pain, the throwing up, like you feel like your skeleton's too big for your body, you're irritable, you can't even look in the mirror, you have no patience, you can't even sit still, you can't sleep, you're just, it's sleep deprived, like it's awful. It's one of the worst. It is probably, I couldn't even in my book I say I probably can't even describe it well enough.
Mhm.
But so that's what keeps people on it for so long, because the withdrawal itself is so painful.
Oh wow.
But a lot of it is also just like, yeah, once you're stuck in addiction and alcoholism, of course, that, like I said, the biological part, you can get, if you're a true alcoholic, you get the shakes. And I mean, I was surprised to find out that alcohol is actually the drug that you could die from in withdrawal if you don't withdraw properly.
Oh wow. I didn't
Which,
know that either.
yeah, I was surprised. Like when I'd get arrested and put into city cells, I thought it was the fentanyl, like the drug addicts that the medical team would keep an eye on and be worried about, but it was the alcoholics
Oh
that
wow.
they were most concerned on. Yeah, when they asked what your DOC, your drug of choice was, it was the alcoholics that got the shakes and were throwing up. And yeah, I was surprised.
Oh wow. I'm surprised too.
Mm.
Wow. So, did you consult like with the therapist or anybody before you started sharing your story? Like, did you tell your mom or?
Um, Yeah, like my sister Jamie, she's a spiritual healer. She does a lot of healing practices. I was, and actually, she's really the reason why me and her were sending long letters to and from jail. And we talked about everything. And she's the one who suggested, for healing purposes, like write it out, like right from start to beginning. And like a part of my, step six, seven was writing an amends to the people you've harmed. And for 7 years, like my family was traumatized and broken and didn't know where I was or if I was alive. My mom was just waiting to get the phone call that her son was dead. My little brothers just wished that I died because they said then we could mourn you instead of watching how like you were killing our mom. Like and I wanted, there's so many words that went unsaid, and I wanted to explain how and why I got stuck and the things that took place and connecting the dots for them. So it was a lot of writing. I mean, there's a lot of writing in it, recovery.
Yeah, definitely. So can you describe like what your life was before everything went downhill? Like
Yeah.
what
I
happened? Was you
actually
just
come
depressed?
from, yeah, I come from a good family. Like I had a decent childhood. My mom is like my best friend. I have a good relationship with my dad. We grew up on a farm, and ironically, which I hated. It's probably why I turned out gay. Um,
Before our interview, I was like, I got to get dressed and stuff because I'm interviewing like a really cute guy, and then and my friend was
oh,
like, bro, I
well.
don't think he likes you like that.
You're hilarious. Thank you. Yeah, so like, but and then my stepdad, my mom remarried, and then my stepdad, and he was great for the first like 13, 14 years, and then our relationship changed, and he got very bully-like. I went through bullying heavily in school. I was closeted. So I mean, I had my things, but I mean, as far as like I didn't come from a family of addiction or alcoholics. I didn't come from a family that does fraud or does crime. I didn't have a criminal record going into this. Um, and like when I moved downtown for love, my first relationship, and we moved downtown to Vancouver together. And I was going to AA supporting him, not knowing that he also has a crystal meth addiction. So after a year and a half of both being sober, him proposing to me, and then 2 months after, he asked for an open relationship, which destroyed me. But I went along with it because I didn't want to lose my life in Vancouver, and we had joint accounts and stuff like that. So, and that was pretty much the start of my fall when at that time in a relationship, and I was 24, like I was young, and it was my first epic romance. I would have done anything for his attention. So, like when he relapsed on crystal meth and said, like, let's do it together, like I naively did it with him, and that was the start of the beginning, or the beginning of the end.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. So, what were the early signs that things were heading in a like dangerous direction?
Oh man, there's a couple. I mean, so like the first guy, like I talked about, when it, I mean, when we lost our jobs, he lost his job because he was a contractor and he wasn't showing up to work. So he got let go, and then he messaged me. I was chief of operations at Talius company in Coquitlam where I needed to be there. And like I mean, he texted me and told me like that he didn't want to be here anymore because he lost his dream job. And I had to rush there. And the people I worked for were incredible. I still have actually a relationship. They don't own the company anymore, but they're amazing people. But I was let go or put on leave until further notice. And we couldn't afford rent. He suggested that let's escort, like he's escorted in the past. So like let's build a business and get online and put up ads and sell our bodies as a duo to other people. And I was strongly against that. Like I'm a pretty big prude. I may talk a big game, but when it comes down to it, I'm, like I won't approach somebody. Like I'm really shy. Like I'll talk a big game, but really when it comes down to it, I'm like, happy birthday. So yeah, like I'm really against it. Like my mom taught me, like your body is like treat it like it sounds cheesy, but treat it like it's a temple. Like it's important. Share it with someone you love and you trust. So I was doing. I mean, I stayed in an open relationship, knowing that he wasn't the one I was going to marry. I was just buying my time. hoping that perhaps he would change his mind. And we went through a little bit of a dance that way. Like the more I was okay with it, or I appeared to be okay with it, and I was new meat in Vancouver, so I was getting more attention. It was like I was his shiny toy that he would throw out and get bored with, and then everybody would want the toy, so then he'd want the toy back. So he
Yeah.
kind of played that dance, and um, yeah, we started escorting. He wasn't a functional addict, so he was like disintegrating. Like it was really sad, but I kept my appearance going, and then clients were wanting to take me solo, and then he was just like collecting the money, so it became like a pimp situation, which
Yeah.
started to be a problem for me. And then yeah, like that's the start of it, like escorting and like sharing your body with people for currency. We had a problem. We had to move out of that place, go into another place. My mom helped buy, which as soon as addiction gets into your life and drugs and like people get a little bit like cuckoo cuckoo.
Mhm.
And like he threw my things out of the window, and like he took my car and crashed it in the back alleyway, and it was really
Damn.
toxic. Which and then he took my name off the lease, which and added another person without my consent. So then I threatened the landlord that I would take him to small claims because that's fraud.
Mhm.
Then he got me another building that he owned on Barclay. He moved me to a studio as like like that's what we'll do, and I agreed to it. I moved out on my own, and then the next person came in, the next great love, and he was a master craft at gaslighting and fraud. I was so uneducated and unequipped, and like we were, shooting up crystal meth. And I mean, but it was a weird thing because on the surface, I would say I was happy, but because I had $25,000-$30,000 in my safe from escorting alone. But I didn't like what I was doing. If it wasn't for the drugs every day, like I wouldn't have been acceptable. And his DOC was fentanyl, and I didn't even know what fentanyl was at the time. And to get me to spend my money on the fentanyl, he overdosed me. He mixed fentanyl with crystal meth.
Oh wow, really?
Uh, yeah, and then I overdosed. Woke up in the emergency room, and I mean that would have been like there's so many. Then I got so much things happened, and then I ended up on the streets. That should have been a warning or dangerous. And then when I was on the streets getting kidnapped and held at gunpoint, going into SROs and seeing the dark side of the world, like there's another part in my book that there was in the Murray SRO. It's a shady, gross SRO.
Mm.
SRO, for anybody that doesn't know, is a government funded building for people that are on disability or on support. The government will pay for a room in a government funded building, but it's not a nice apartment. Like it's ratchet. And there lots of crime, and it's dirty, and like yeah, there's lots of dead bodies, like people overdosing or planned kills so that they can get the money from the person who's. It was just really dark.
Oh wow, man,
Yeah.
you've been through a lot, a whole lot.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's why I always thought like this would make for a great book.
Yeah,
Like,
it'll make for a great movie, like to inform
yeah.
people of
Yeah, that's the
what it is.
plan. That's the goal.
Man, I could see it being on Lifetime, definitely. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, like, did you ever like sit in the corner and just like cry and like ask God to change you, like to get you out of this?
You know, what probably added to the hopelessness is I had no like spirituality. God, I already gave up on God. I felt like God gave up on me. I cried a lot. Like I was with abusive people and manipulators, and like catching them in lies or catching them trying, talking with other people through, like listening on the other side and hearing that they're hatching a plan to fraud me or steal my car, and catching them in a lie, and cheating, lots of cheating. Like it was funny. Like I still had a heart on my sleeve. Like, and I still had that foolish, genuine, like, well, but we love each other. And like, I got my heart broken many times and deceived a lot by the three guys that I was involved with. Um, and yeah, there was abuse, and I cried a lot that way because and it was funny. My mom, because me and my mom were in contact. Like I tried to keep in contact. I mean, a lot of the time on being homeless, you don't have a phone, but I would call her from random businesses or random people's phones, And even at the beginning, when the second person came in, I still had a nice condo and nice clothes and a car. And I caught him cheating on me a couple times, and I would call her bawling, just like so devastated. And she'd be like, "Son, how are you still surprised by this? Like, it was the same thing 2 weeks ago. Like, like, really? Like, how are you so broken? You know what I mean? I mean, she was obviously compassionate and everything like that, but like, yeah, I truly, even like after, like, even myself read, like, I've read my book now that it's done, and I've been like, oh my God, Jeremy, like, did you not learn the first time?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You look like you seem to be doing well now. Like you're in a better state of mind. You're around better people. Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, I work at Together We Can Recovery. I'm also a certified peer support worker now, an advocate for recovery. I'm working with I go to the Langley City Hall meetings. I have a meeting with the mayor of Langley May 20th. I want to get into office or somewhere like to be an advocate for the system that we have in place and bettering, detox, recovery, obviously housing, fixing the homelessness thing. The SkyTrain is coming to Langley in end of 2029. So preparing for that because I'm well aware of, what if addicts or people in that life have access to a SkyTrain, then they're going to come there. And with that comes a lot of different issues. So and just like having I don't like people that are making all the decisions at the higher up people of how to handle addiction and recovery and detox, like they have never lived through the battle, they've never been on the ground, they've never been in the trenches of addiction and homelessness. So I think it would be very valuable to have someone with lived experience, that has their shit together, and that's a big goal of mine for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know if you want to share this story because I know you don't want to tell too much this in the book, but can you tell us just a little bit about the client who brought the two children with him, like and how were you forced to act?
Yeah, yeah, like I don't want to give too much away, so you have to go get my book. But I will just give you, yeah, a brief there. That was one of the most shocking things. I had a client who was a billionaire, which this was the crazy thing. So I was an addict, and a lot of society looks down at addicts, and even sex workers say, and yet I had politicians, doctors, lawyers, people with big money that were hiring me. I had many relationships with. They may have had families. A lot of them did. I never asked questions, but they would come to my place or they'd rent a hotel, and they were people in high positions of society, which really messed with my mind because I'm like, society says that junkies or people that do drugs and sex trade are drains and losers, and just they're not worth your time, but yet I was worth so much. It really messed up my way of thinking, like as far as success or what society deems a proper occupation, and stuff like that. So anyway, I had this client who was totally, I would not have known. But then I was on Leo's list. Like I had a couple different places online. So you basically would just, my number would be there, the ad would be there, photos of me, and like whatever my information, that things I would accept or not accept. And you could easily like, you text or call. And I just got like a random person trying to book. And they were just like, and it was confidential. Like I never told anybody about anybody else. Like I would never, disclose if like this, for example, this one person was asking me about the client, like, hey, do you have a client whose name is so and so? And I know I did, but I said I'm not. I can't discuss that information with you. And they were like persistent and kept asking me weird questions. And then I like hung up. And then called from a different number, booked me for the hour, and made a schedule. Didn't say anything about that other. Like I didn't put the two phone calls together. Then met up with the person, and then they paid. But then they just wanted information, and it was like a gang member. And then they asked me like, well, I said, I can't, I've already, like, I can't, it's confidential. And they said, well, it's bigger than that. Like, does this man, do you ever do more than just one-on-one? And I said, no. And then they're like, well, does he ever bring like children to your sessions? And I was like, no. Like, I
What?
was like, what the fuck are you? No. And then that's how it all began. Luckily, I had a TELUS alarm system because you have to. They don't believe, right? People don't believe anything. But my alarms had cameras at the front door going in and out, and so at least I could prove that obviously the person came in alone. I didn't show the face or anything, but and then I wanted to know more because I obviously was like, that's a really, really messed up thing to ask. And then like I said, I was approached by this gang and they told me what was going on. It was common knowledge on the streets that this woman had sold her two younger children to a billionaire and like this pedophile. And yeah, it was pretty wild. It was awful.
Oh wow,
And they
man.
wanted to take him down. And it was, I mean, I don't. It's a hard thing to be, obviously my morals and like normal, decent human behavior. Of course, I would, anything against children, I'm strongly against. Of course, the children should be protected and safe and not ever in that field. So I was supportive of stopping this guy if it was true, and it turned out to be true, and I assisted them, these people, in taking the guy down.
Oh wow,
But
that's
yeah, it really just shocked me that this stuff is real. Like there's that
yeah,
child, that's just child into the sex slave or children, anything children. Like that's the stuff you see like in horror movies. Like the fact that
yeah,
this is real, like it's a thing that
man,
I wanted to spread. I chose to share that to spread awareness, to for people to know that this is happening.
man, that's crazy. So, what was
Mhm.
your turning point? Like the moment you knew you had to change your life?
Um, the turning point was this final jail stunt. I was in a jail from 2020 to 2024. You get out. Basically the system works where if you get arrested, then you get on conditions. They'll give you bail the first 7 or 8 times because you're a new offender. But then by like the ninth and 10th, and you're not calling your lawyer, you're not showing up to court, you get bench warrants for not showing up. You start to get into the system, and the police start to know who you are, and then they start uh, remanding you, which means they're not giving you bail back out to Vancouver. They're going to take you to North Fraser pretrial or Surrey pretrial center and hold you for a couple days or a week until your lawyer can get you bail, your government lawyer and stuff like that. Um, and I didn't. I would lie and be like, I just didn't care. I was always waiting to get out, get back to my partner, get back to the drugs. But the final time in jail, my mom would come and visit me in jail, and I see like the lines on her face getting older, and life was passing by, and my brothers were graduating. I already missed on all these key big life events that I hated missing. And I joined Bible studies in AA, and the men were like 40, 50, 60, 70, all different ages, and they've lost their family and they have nothing to their name. And I'm 30, and I'm like, that's going to be me. Like, if I don't get my shit together, it's going to be jail or death. Like, the stunts are going to get longer. It's going to become years. And I was so exhausted going in and out of jail. Like, it's a process, and the jail politics and being a gay male going to jail, like, it's difficult.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, did you have a good support system during your recovery?
Yeah, no, I have a good family. I mean, I had to be, I mean, part of the steps, of course, is making amends. And I had a 32-page amends letter I wrote from jail. And I wrote it to my mom, and I asked her to circulate it to my sister and my little brothers. And then I asked them to give it to my dad and his wife, my stepmom, and my other two siblings, my younger siblings. Because I wanted to apologize for my behavior and what I put them through,
Hmm.
make my amends, and also just like explain what's been going on and what my life has been like, and asking for forgiveness and asking to reestablish a relationship. And the court, if I was going to return back to Powell Street to the SRO, they weren't gonna give me time served. I was in there for 5.5 months, January 2024 to May 2024. And my lawyer said, if you go back downtown, where they're going to keep you. But if you change your environment and go live with your mom in Langley, go back to your family, they'll give you probation. So my mom agreed, of course, and I had to like I came back into the house. I mean, I already asked God and my higher power. I forgave myself. I did the steps. I was very spiritual and humble, and I came back to my home from a place of understanding and humble. Like that's what, like I know I hurt them, and that's what you have to be. Like when you try to do this recovery thing, when you do your amends, and the people you've hurt and the family you've hurt, like you have like I needed to validate them, like you know, like I wanted, I even interviewed my family while I wrote my books. I wanted to put their perspective in, and like I said, one of my little brothers said we wish she just died, because
Mhm.
it was an ongoing thing. Like Jackson, my littlest brother, would, you know, he'd cry thinking like, I don't know where my brother is, like he could be dead. And my mom would cry when I would be able to call her, and it would be, you know, there was times I called her absolutely freezing and starving, like mom's just so cold, and it just broke her because I was on the street in Vancouver and there was nothing she could do. Like she still talks about it to this day. Like it chilled her to the bones, and she bawled, and there's a lot of pain. So I had to come back into their lives from a place of understanding, of
Mhm.
apology and respect. Like I respect their feelings. I you know I said, even when Jeffrey said that, I was never defensive. I was never. I said, yeah, I hated my that I put you guys through that too. I hated myself too. You're absolutely right with how you feel and entitled, and I'll do anything to earn your guys' trust back. If you have any questions, like I'm open. And they asked me tons of things, and I just told them the truth. I was open to hear anything and everything. It's part of the work. But I was able to do that because I had God and my higher power with me. You know, I had forgiven me,
Mhm.
so it really didn't matter what anybody else that did, and it was an authentic forgiveness.
Mhm.
Finally, because I spent so long hating myself, shaming myself, guilting myself, not looking in the mirror, not being able to. So when I loved myself again, and I was did the work, and I was ready to bring, I had a lot of support, of course, and I earned their trust back.
That's really good. That's a blessing. What would
Yeah.
you say to someone who is trapped in your situation like you were? Like what would you say to someone that's trapped right now?
Well, I do actually, like, because I have a website, www.jeremycross.ca. I have a bunch of information about me, where to buy the book, and I have a question and answer form at the bottom. And I encourage families, and I get lots of people that message me that have read my book and they have questions. I'm a huge advocate for anybody. I did a Parents Forever. I was a public speaker at this Parents Forever Zoom meeting with like 200 participants that were just parents of addicts that all come together. And I was asked to be a public speaker because I'm
Mhm.
very passionate about giving back to the moms and the dads that are stuck and maybe need guidance and help and education. And for the addict that's in it, like my biggest thing I would say to them, I mean, I've even made letters to I post about it on my Facebook is open, you know, a letter to my younger self. Like, I would just say there is a way. Like I know you feel hopeless and trapped and helpless, and what you say, what's the point? Like I'm never gonna get out of here. Plus, I look like shit. I'm never gonna get off this shit. Like I'm so stuck. My life is ruined. No one will ever forgive me. I'll never forgive me. Like to just hang tight and believe you're worthy, and to know there is a chance. There is recovery if you choose to break the chains and go to change. I'm evidence and proof, and I would just tell them to be strong and keep you, don't lose yourself. Like don't lose yourself in that world. Like I could feel myself a lot of the times, like certain, like stealing from other people. Like I didn't like to steal, or when I would do like when I would do scores with other criminals, like I never ripped them off. I always split everything. Like I didn't want to be like looking over my back. Like just like keep try to stay true, and try, like if you're in it right now. And I'd also tell them there's lots of resources, and now there's peer support workers like me that are now have come through addiction, and now are on this side of the mountain, that will help you up, that will extend a hand, that will, I'll show you how to do it. I'll bring you to meetings. I'll show you, you know, the navigating recovery, what to do for detox for into a recovery house. Like there's tons of resources now. And
Yeah.
I want them to know they're not alone and there is a way.
Yeah, definitely. There are a ton of resources too. Um, so my last and final question I have for you before I let you go is what's next for you personally and professionally? What do you have planned for yourself?
Yeah, like professionally, I would like to see my book become a TV adaptation. I'd love to see it on Netflix, a docuseries, Amazon Prime. Do like a 10 episode thing and have like my whole story chronologically, because there's just such a crisis right now with drugs, and just like the people in power and the system that we have now and how we like tackle addiction and illegal drugs and crime, and just for the people that are stuck in that life. Like I just want to be an advocate, and be a voice on a panel or be in office, so that when we're putting in new regulations or new policies, to have somebody who's been through there, like even just the system that they have now. Like when I wanted to get out, and go to detox, the free government one, they said, okay, no problem. They put my name on a wait list and say it's a 3 week wait and you got to call in every day to show you're serious about recovery. Which I was like, I don't have a phone, I'm homeless. And even if even now I have clients that I do an intervention with, and then if we get the client to be like, yeah, I'm in, and the mom and dad go, okay, where can we take them? I'm like, unless you have 25, $30,000 for private detox, like, or maybe I can get you in the shortest, like 48 hours. But even still, like, we need something instantly. So what's for me now is to be a part of the solution, to do some reform. I'd love to see in jail right now, like have an actual recovery lane for people that are, involuntarily held in jail, of course, against their will, because they have to be there, but actually have peer support workers there, and like 12 steps, and like and choose, like, have a more treatment recovery wing in jail. Like that's the first point of contact that you can have with an inmate or a criminal, and an addict, and they have to be there. So like let's make it so, well, while you're here, if we give show you a way or offer a way of recovery, will you do it? Give them the option. Just like different systems, like, because I've been through them all. So just to try to make it better and be a part of the solution, really. And like, yeah, I would love to see my book go get on the big screen, in some form, to help educate. There's another movie on Netflix called Beautiful Boy, which is really good. Yeah, so it's kind of like that, but like I would like a lot of the, like, even just what people are capable of is a big thing for me. Like when I'd get deceived, the gaslighting, the awful mastercraft of that web, like these predators that look and know exactly what they're doing, they know exactly what they're looking for in a person, and they'll exploit you. Like my $40,000 car was stolen and sold, my whole wardrobe was sold, my bureau was attacked, my identity was stolen, my bank account's compromised. Like it was mind blowing. So just like to that's like just to hit a bigger audience, and just like to help parents like navigate this. A lot of people don't realize it's not just the addict that needs help after; it's the family too that have been riding along.
Yeah.
They're traumatized out too, and they need healing and they need some support as well. And so I'm hoping to get in office somewhere. I'd like to maybe get on city council and just like be a part of it.
Ooh, yeah, definitely go for it.
Yeah.
I'll support you. I'll share everywhere.
Thank you.
So I want you to have a great day, Jeremy, and thank you so so much for being a guest on my podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have a great day.
Bye.
Bye. Hey everyone, I want to thank you all so so much for listening to my interview with Jeremy. You can purchase his book. He said his website on there, so you can just go purchase his book. I know I'm definitely going to purchase it. So see you next time for the next interview. Bye.